So, my college thesis film, Silverlight, officially was not accepted into any festivals that I'd submitted it to. And rather than go and submit it to more festivals in the future, hoping that I get into something, I decided I'm just gonna post it on YouTube for free where people can actually see it because me and my team and my actors worked really, really hard and we want people to see it. So, it sucks not getting into festivals, but it's not the end of the world. I'm still working on new things. All of us are, and we're excited to keep moving forward. But as part of a way to release the film and talk about it officially, I want to go into the process behind it, including pre-production, actual production, and post-production, and really just kind of break down what it was like to make the film. So I started writing Silverlight in my screenwriting class almost a year before production started. In screenwriting 2, at the college I went to, you are supposed to write a short film and a feature film. I wrote both. Hated the feature film. I hated writing a feature. It was insufferable for me because I'm not a writer. But the short film I actually really enjoyed, and it was Silverlight. And spoilers for the movie, you should go watch it before you watch this video. Just saying. I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, go watch the film so I can then talk about the film. Anyways, Silverlight is about a father and son who live on this ranch. When things start going wrong, the farmer starts losing livestock, and he eventually realizes that his son is a werewolf and is eating his livestock, and chaos ensues. But go watch it. Go watch the film. So I started writing for the screenwriting class. I knew that I wanted to do that as my thesis because you can write a new film and thesis and just produce a whole new film. But I was like, I don't want to waste my time writing because I'm not going to have any good ideas. And then I'm going to run out of time for post-production because post-production almost always takes the longest amount of time. So we got into thesis. We kind of picked what we wanted to do, and I knew Silverlight was it. So we got into scheduling. Aaron, my amazing partner, was my producer as well as my co-director. So Aaron really tackled a lot of the pre-production process that I am not really good at doing. I don't really have a scheduling mind or a spreadsheet brain. So it was really, really helpful for Aaron to be there. Right off the bat, we realized that we were going to have to pay for hotels. I had written the script with a location in mind, and that location was about 3 hours south of where everybody was located in a part of South Texas. So I knew we were going to have to pay for hotels because my grandmother's ranch, the location we were using, did not have the space to accommodate 7 people. So I knew I was going to have to pay for hotels, and hotels are expensive. I ended up paying for... Let's talk budget. I ended up paying for 4 bedrooms. One was shared by Kyle and Laura because they are a couple. The other was Riley and Isaiah because they are also a couple. I'm kidding. They didn't actually know each other until that day, and they just agreed to share a room because they didn't want me to spend more money. Great for them. Our actor Draper got a bedroom to himself, and our actor Zach also got a bedroom to himself. So all in all, hotels ended up costing me for 4 rooms over 2 nights about $1,493.86. So just under $1,500, and that's including taxes and all that. And it was fine. We actually had a budget for about $2,750 total. Some friends and family decided to be kind enough to lend us some money. And by lend us money, I mean just they gave us money. They just gave us money because they weren't getting it back, and they knew that. So we had a budget of about $2,750, and we ended up being $45 under budget after production. So let's break down our budget here. We spent about maybe $300 on makeup things, so that includes the prosthetics for the werewolf face, which we'll get to see in the film, as well as costuming for Pa and Mason kind of like worn old Western shirts and things like that, some blue jeans, and just some essentials for like makeup, things to like dirty them up, things that our makeup director Laura said she wanted, and I was more than willing to pay for. We also had to buy some film equipment from B&H, good old B&H. We spent about $400 on film equipment, consisting of what we got was some lens supports, just pretty much just support stuff for my Black Magic, which is rigged up somewhere else. Some V-mount batteries, V-mount battery plate, dummy batteries, stuff like that. Just things to make sure that our camera was running all day. Potentially looked at getting a gimbal and some other stuff, but realized that was not in the budget, so we just didn't do it. We ended up just shooting it handheld or on sticks, and it turned out pretty good because that camera is heavy. So yeah, that's what we spent on camera gear. Not a whole lot. Parking, that was for auditions. So during auditions, which were held on campus, we had to pay for parking for 2 of our actors, it looks like. So it wasn't too bad. And then crafty, so we spent some money on some snacks. We just went to Walmart, grabbed a bunch of snacks to keep people fed and happy. Our day 1 lunch, you always got to feed your casting crew, keeps them happy, makes them not want to murder you. Our lunch day 1 was Mexican food from a local place, pretty good. Everybody got what they wanted. Day 2 lunch was barbecue from a local barbecue joint, also very good. We got some brisket, some spicy sausage, beans, mac and cheese. And day 3 was Whataburger because day 3 was our last day. And our last day was it was an early day so that we could get people fed and back home because it was a Sunday and everybody had to go to work on Monday. So we wanted to make sure people got home with plenty of time on a Sunday to, wind down and relax. So yeah, all in all, we spent $2,705, and we were actually $45 under budget, which is great. That's a great thing to hear. So some of that money went towards festivals and didn't work out. So it was kind of a waste of money. But that's what you're willing to do with festivals, is you're willing to kind of just spend that money and hope that you get in. So let's talk about production. Part of pre-production was also some rewrites and some auditions. But looking at the first kind of part of production is we created a shot list, and I believe I created this shot list using a template, and it just kind of goes over what we're shooting, when we're shooting it, and how we're shooting it. So you'll see a breakdown of scene as well as the description of what's happening, who's in it, where it's located. Duration doesn't really matter. Like, how are you supposed to know that? I started filling them out and I was like, that's stupid, and then stopped doing it. As well as shot size, and then labeling them so that we can slate them and know where they are in post-production. So this is just a look at our shot list here. Anything in red, anything highlighted red over here means that the werewolf prosthetic makeup was needed. So we kind of set this up in a way where we can shoot all of the werewolf stuff at one time. So the shot list was important to schedule that and know when we needed Zach Mason in prosthetics, to know when he was, so that we could just knock it all out, and that way we're not spending hours each day putting him back in makeup when we only had 2 prosthetics. So just to make sure that we got everything we needed as easily and as quickly as possible. So that's a look at our shot list. We also have we have a script breakdown, which just kind of shows props we need, where we need it, stuff like that. Pretty similar to the shot list, but more of a assistant director's side. And then we have our cast and crew. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about auditions. So we had 2 characters in this film, Pa and Mason. Pa is kind of a rugged rancher, old Western man, and Mason is his kind of scrawny son. And casting was a weird process. We put casting call out to Backstage, Facebook, things like that. And for Pa, we got a couple. And for Zach, Zach's not the role. For Mason, we also got a couple. But we ended up choosing Draper because he came in, he killed his audition. He was so nice. He had a perfect look, just like a long white beard, long white hair. And we were like, this is him. This is our Pa. He killed his audition, and I was very happy with it. And he was such a nice person in person that I was like, this, having him on set will be just a good experience for everybody involved. So we went with it. In terms of Mason, we had a couple more auditions for Mason. It's a little bit easier to find younger actors for free. And some of them were okay. Some of them weren't great. We had a guy who said that he studied wolf behavior, and he's always wanted to play a werewolf and this and that. And then he didn't even show up. He said he was going to audition, never showed up, never sent in a tape. Zach, however, sent in a tape. He's a Austinite. He sent us a tape because we were in Dallas. We loved his tape, and we decided to cast him, let him know. And then we sent them over to Laura. Laura is our amazing wardrobe, hair, makeup, as art director, just all of it. She's in charge of props. She's in charge of wardrobe. She's in charge of the monster makeup and the dirty makeup and all of that. We'd send them. We'd be like, hey, you're casted. Laura will be in contact with you soon. Laura would just message them and handle it from there. I really didn't have to sign off on anything. She created me a fun little kind of lookbook for my class because I needed one for class. So we had a little costume lookbook that includes the werewolf stuff, what Pa is going to look like, kind of that rugged, grizzled farmer, button-ups, flannels, jeans, worn-out boots, as well as Mason as his human self, which is kind of a small frame teenager. Clothing, we chose clothing that's a little bit too big on him, so they're probably hand-me-downs, just stuff that his dad used to have. And then we have the werewolf, which we were going for a kind of old-school teen wolf situation, something where it's like clearly a person in prosthetics, just because that's what we can afford. I wasn't going to do a bunch of CGI for this, because that would be insane. And I also wanted that kind of realistic look. And I was very happy with it in the end. We ended up going for a skinnier, kind of emaciated werewolf because of the struggle of him finding food. And if you watch the film, that'll make more sense. So those were our casts. Let's talk about crew. So I mentioned 2 of our crew before so far. Well, I've mentioned all of them actually, but 2 on what they actually do. Aaron was our producer / co-director. They helped me do all the pre-production producing stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do, as well as on set. They were a really good way to get what we needed out of actors because I am not a seasoned director. I had taken directing, but I wasn't as good as a director as Aaron was, so our duties kind of lined up to me being the director of photography as well as director of the main idea, main emotions, and things like that. And I would Aaron and I would talk before takes and after takes and kind of talk about what we needed and what we didn't like and what we did like. And I would give those notes to Aaron, and Aaron would do a great job of delivering actors in a way that keeps the actors where they need to be without me being like, be sad. Because actors don't like that. Actors don't want to be told be sad. So Aaron killed that. Laura, like I said, awesome. Did her job amazingly. We also had Kyle as our gaffer. Kyle and I worked very closely. Very early on, I kind of told Kyle, I was like, hey, we're going to shoot this film in black and white. And there's this movie that I want you to look at called Three Outlaw Samurai, where they do this really amazing thing. It's a black and white film, old Japanese film. And their use of light, because it's black and white, isn't trying to be realistic. It's just trying to be interesting. And that's something I really wanted to capture, where I was like, you know what, let's ditch realism and just go for value. And doing that with black and white is a lot easier than doing it with color, because in black and white, you can kind of fake how dark shadows are and how bright lights are. And you don't have to worry about moonlight, because even a little bit of light kind of sells the idea. So I knew I wanted to shoot black and white. Talked to Kyle. We went out. We tried some lights. We set up this giant 600D with a lantern on it to simulate our moonlight, and it all worked out. And Kyle just really killed it. Riley was our assistant director, which is not a role that he normally fills. He's normally a producer, but we asked him to be an AD just to take a little bit off of Aaron's plate. And Riley killed it. He was very helpful, kept us on time, kept us moving. You know, if I got stuck anywhere, Riley was just like, hey, let's just try something and then just keep moving on. He had some good new ideas when things had to change, because on a film set, things have to change all the time. Isaiah was our boom operator. Isaiah, we jokingly refer to him as like the go-to boom guy, just because he's the only guy that'll do it without complaining. Nobody wants to run sound, but Isaiah's like, yeah, man, I'll be there. Like, let's do it. And he ran our boom and our lavs, and he did a really good job. Audio was crisp. We were working in a chicken coop with live chickens running around, and Isaiah made that not an issue. So really great to have him. And in terms of cast, Draper, amazing human being, so nice, just a really good actor. He took notes incredibly. He was just there to be there. He was helpful, and he really killed it. I was so happy to have him as Pa in my film. Zach also killed it. You know, great actor from Austin. He was awesome, and you know, he was so patient with the makeup and the process, and really responded well to notes. So it was just amazing to have him on set too. Draper just recently did a podcast, which I will link down below, and he actually talked about Silverlight a little bit, so it might be interesting to go see his thoughts and ideas on it, as well as just check out his other stuff. So look down at that in the description, please. So production. We shot over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with our first shoot being a night shoot. That way people could sleep in and we're not doing as much the next day. So I believe day one we started doing werewolf makeup stuff. We did a little bit of a previs, a little bit of a test in the kind of practice scenario. So we had an idea of what it was going to look like, but you know, things changed, different person in the mask, so it looked a little different, but I was very happy with it. The night shoot went well. We were shooting with Draper when Zach was in the chair getting his makeup on, so we weren't just sitting around wasting time ever, which is always good. We shot in a chicken coop. Chickens were asleep at night. They do that. And then the next day we did all of our daytime stuff, kind of Pa and Mason running around doing chores, getting their ranch set up, bringing new feed, stuff like that. And day 3 was super easy. It was an early morning, kind of like a breakfast shoot, because the film opens and closes with breakfast, because I like food, and I think that it's important. It's an important thing for people. So that's how I wanted to end that movie. And after breakfast, we wrapped up. We took people to Whataburger, told them thank you very much, fed them, sent them home so that they were home safe and ready to go. And after the shoot, we got into post-production. So post-production is always the longest process. There was a lot of editing, then re-editing, then re-editing, then re-editing, cutting things, putting things back in, finding sound, correcting things. Even a couple of reshoots. Not reshoots, but additional shooting. I ended up going back out and shooting some additional kind of establishing shots and some interesting kind of more creative shots, just to add a little bit based on feedback from my peers. So yeah, editing, a lot of editing process, and eventually the film was made and we screened it and people liked it. Cast loved it. Crew was very happy with the results, and you know, I was pretty happy with the results too. It's not a perfect film. There are things I would have done differently. There are a lot of things I did right. I really enjoy the style we went for, the cinematography, that black and white. I really love the look. I like the concept. My talent and my crew were perfect, and the location was great. I wrote the script with the location in mind, so I knew what it would look like. I knew what we had to work with, and there are definitely some things I could have done better. I'm not the strongest writer, so I'd like to keep working on that. I think emotionally we could have gotten a little bit deeper, and scheduling wise, I think if we had more time, maybe 2 weekends and more money, then we could have really got into it and made sure everything was perfect. because at some points we were kind of rushing, and we probably didn't get the best we could, and that's probably where some of the more negative parts of the film shine. But it is what it is. In the end, I'm very happy with it. I'm very proud of it, and I want y'all to go watch the film. So I'm gonna link in the description below to my other channel, where you will see that short film as well as some of my other short film stuff. So please go check that out. Shout out to my amazing cast and crew. Go check out the podcast with Draper in it, where he talks about his stuff, as well as keep an eye out for any additional short films as well as other videos. We have some more stuff working on. I know it's been a minute since I posted because I was in the process of moving and working and a lot of other stuff. So I'm finally getting back into it, and I hope to keep making videos. I have some more ideas. So thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.